On this episode of Before Brunch, we're talking about stigmas behind crystals, manifestation, and other alternative forms of healing as they are being openly talked about now more than ever. Today's guests include Satoria Holland, Megan Jennifer Harris, and Perla Woods.
Thanks for tuning in to Before Brunch TV. So excited to be here because we're talking about a topic that I've actually been really curious about, which is crystals, manifesting, and healing. And I have some amazing guests today to kind of talk me through it and talk about what the whole deal is with this. So we have Aliana, Megan, and Satoria. Welcome to the show.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
So I reached out to you all blindly because I'm just so curious. I've gotten like my crystals, my chakras, my healing, all this stuff, but I never know how to really utilize this. And I know you all are very well versed in this. So what kind of initially led you to these types of practices, and what type of practices do you do? I want to talk through the specifics.
I actually got into just spiritual healing altogether because I had very bad anger problems. Went to anger management, and that was the first time I had a taste of consciousness where I was actually aware of why I was feeling the way that I was feeling, why I was angry, and what was causing that. So once I got that first taste of consciousness, I was like, okay, I need to heal myself altogether. And then down the road, that's what led me to the crystals, just finding my spirituality, finding myself, and just believing that I was one with nature. So that's what led me to crystal healing.
Okay, well, mine's a long, windy road too, but I think people, well, me specifically, I reached an apex of sorts where things just kind of fall apart. And the first time it happened is when my father suddenly passed away. I was 22, still had more school left, and I needed to figure out which way I was going to go. So that's when my spiritual heart opened to be able to explore more than what I had learned up to that point. And then keep going. I found my passion in music and playing and teaching music. So then later, this is me trying to summarize this as quickly as possible. A spiritual mother basically told me you need to be working with tones. You need to be working with tonal things. And I play violin, so that's a tonal instrument. So they kind of coincided and things just started lining up. So then I was led to working with the solfeggio frequencies using medical grade tuning forks. So that's what I do now to help clear people's energy fields, for lack of a better word, and help people come back into coherence with themselves.
Wow, so this is an actual service. We can call and be I need my energy cleared.
Yes.
Can you come do that? Or I come to you to have this done.
Yes.
Wow. Satoria.
Same thing. Well, it's a journey, but mine's, I can go back as far as being 4 years old. I've always been attracted to crystals, amethyst. My baby, I always have her with me. I was introduced to amethyst at a very young age. Just kind of down the road, I was learning about herbs as a kid. I was always outside with nature. Just always been really different and couldn't figure out why I was different. And then you start going through those life changes that make you realize, oh, this is why this happened. And it's an aha moment, which is what Satoria means, a sudden sense of awakening and aha moment. So I'm like, Mom, did you know why you named me that? But I don't think she really knew what she was doing. I pretty much touch everything: crystals, solfeggio, vibrations, meditation, everything. I don't know. It's so much.
So what's I guess,
so much.
No, I think that's amazing. There's certain things I don't even know about, but what's the actual ritual? How do you just get to even doing it? How you said, okay, some days I might do crystals or I might do the sound vibration. What's the ritual in it?
I don't really know. It just kind of things call to you, and you kind of just know, you just know, okay, I'm supposed to be doing this right now. This is what's going on. Okay, I stumbled upon this crystal. Why? And then you start looking it up, and it's this is going on in my life right now, so this is why I need this right now. And when you was talking about the windy thing, unalome, which is what I have on my finger right here, unalome is a windy road, but you get to your point. You get to a point, and that's kind of everybody. Everybody is on this windy road. Everybody has a journey, and nobody's journey is the same. So at the end of the day, we all end up at a point, but everybody's journey is different. So it's like, I don't think no one story is the same.
Yeah. I think it has a lot to do with awareness too, because we're born into a culture where our senses and everything is kind of overloaded at once. And sometimes if our innate in tune nature is dulled for whatever reason, either on purpose or not, it disconnects us from being aware of when we need to align with certain things. Because there are a lot of things, and people often call it just, oh, luck or happenstance, or it was a coincidence. But most of the time, I want to say all the time, those are usually synchronicities with what you were aligning with vibrationally. We're vibrational beings, because you can go to the doctor and get vibrations read from your head, from your brain, from your heart, but they can be picked up from everywhere. And so since everything is vibrating, I know that's so broad to say that, that is how we can come into presence with various different things. So when you tune into that awareness and you're like, oh, I feel drawn to, or I feel a pull from, or I feel very strongly about, I really need to go, and then you just kind of follow those, allow those little nudges to move you, then you'll come into contact with what you need in whatever form.
Yeah, I would definitely say awareness is a big thing. And when you're aware, you know that there's things all around that are going to knock you off your balance or just knock you off, being centered in life. So for me, that's like my ritual, is for me to get back balanced and one with myself. Then I want to do these things, whether it be meditation or yoga or just centering myself, or just having a moment to myself, just to feel what I'm feeling outside of what I'm being influenced by on the outside world.
Was something did something get you to that moment where you're just like, okay, now I'm completely self-aware? Because I always feel like, I think when I was first introduced to crystals, I was in LA, and they have these amazing crystal shops out there. My friend took me, and I got one. I was like, oh, this is great. And all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, but I'm like, was I really self-aware, or was it just I was fascinated with the thought of what it could do? So what was that moment where you're like, what I'm doing, the things that I'm practicing, with these crystals and this awareness, how did you know when that was changing you?
For me?
My life-changing moment for me was my twins. When I had my twins, that was a very traumatic situation. And when you were talking about energy and, people being very aware, when you're born as a baby, you're very aware and you're very one. You're one with God, and you're very in tune. But as you grow through life, different things that happen to you traumatize you, different things change you, and it takes you away from that consciousness of who you are, and you kind of forget. So as you go through life-changing things, they bring you back to those things. So when I went through my children, being in the hospital for 21 days by myself, dealing with my twins being in the NICU for 13 weeks, their father not being involved during the entire pregnancy or at all. It was just me by myself, and then the support of Facebook and community and friends. It was overwhelming. At the time, I had a TV show, and people were calling up to the hospital for me and checking on me, and it was to the point where the hospital was like, who are you? What is going on? They created paperwork just for me to sign because it was so much love and it was so overwhelming. But it was just very life-changing, and at that point I really wanted change and elevation. And that's when I really went hard on the journey, and everything just started to align, and I just stayed dedicated to it. I got into the moon phases and doing things with the moon, and it all started to make sense. Because when you were talking about a ritual, there is a ritual to it. There are certain things that work in your favor when you work with the new moon, manifesting, and working with the full moon and releasing. So it's a lot of rituals to it.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. My life-changing moment was a choice. I wanted to change. I wanted to be my full self. I wanted to be able to come into this setting and not be nervous, not be shy, not be my whole self. I was self-conscious in a lot of ways. So I knew that I wanted to be confident. And when I asked for that, the universe just brought these synchronicities and just aligned me in different things that was okay, here you go tackle this.
Yeah, and sometimes I think we kind of default to our conditioning, and we're like, oh, I don't want to believe that because I was taught I'm not supposed to. Or this really doesn't work because it's just and you'll make it relative to just, we'll say, oh, it's just a rock, but in all actuality, that rock has a frequency. So what turned it around for me too was shifting my perspective and shifting my perception of reality. So instead of looking at everything as like, oh, it's solid, it's liquid, it's just a form, it's just a different expression of, this divine everything that's everywhere all the time. And what really did it for me, after I moved through my process, especially for my the training for the solfeggio forks, the first time after I aligned myself with the forks, the first time I saw them moving for me, I was like, yup,
That's it.
I knew it. I knew it. I'm not making this up. Nah, these jokers is, yep. And that was it for me. After that, it just, the light bulb went off, and it's no reining any of it back in.
It seems like there's been such, especially over the last couple of years, this huge like commercialization of like, girl, go get your sage, get your crystals, put them under, to me it just seems over commercialized right now. What are some things that y'all have seen and you're like, nah, that ain't it? Or have you noticed that it's become very trendy to be in this space?
Like the kits at Five Below, they annoy me.
Tarot deck.
They annoy me. I am excited that more people are becoming in tune, and people are taking it more serious, because I want everyone to be aware of who they are. That is like one of my missions. Like I want everyone to be comfortable with who they are, and love yourself. It's more about that. What I don't like about it being commercialized is the groups that get into not self-love. I don't know how to put it, but it's more like, how can I get this man to love me type of groups. And it takes people off the course of where they're supposed to be at, because you need to love yourself in order to love other people. So it gets deep. I just wish that people would know what they're getting themselves into and take it seriously versus just sticking to the surface of it.
Yeah. Some people everybody has to have their own path, their own journey. So the fact that it is more commercialized brings it more to the forefront. So it allows more people to kind of see it and then start to investigate for themselves. So that's the plus. The downside of it, just like with everything, when too many people get their hands on it, especially with the wrong energy, it could just pollute the whole thing and then turn away some people who actually need it sooner rather than later. It can kind of turn them off and just be like, no, I don't need that because it seems fake. So yeah, with everything there's a balance.
She's like, girl.
I just feel like with social media, it's like inevitable at this point for anything. So I mean, the right people who are meant to go down that path, they'll do it the right way. The people who go down and they have different type of intents, universally, universally they'll get whatever it is that they're asking for. And I mean,
intentionality matters, especially with this kind of stuff. You're dealing with energy, because thoughts literally are measurable energy as well. Yeah.
So we got to talk about the old folks.
Oh yeah.
And we talk about church, like how they'd be like, oh, this ain't of God or whatever it is. They'll say, I think I read a quote, it's like, y'all gotta stop saying that the universe when it's God, or like, do you guys think that, or do you ladies think that this coexist, or that they're the same? Because some people they look at this as a religious practice, but then it's just like, oh, it's a ritual. So do they coexist? And what are your thoughts about people in these religious spaces like, this is not it?
The universal consciousness field consists of a lot of different beliefs. And beliefs are really just very strongly held opinions. And because there's so many people that believe a certain thing, and you get your belief based on experience, right? So if something happens to you, that's a fact. That happened to me, so therefore it must be true. So people in their belief systems that they've grown accustomed to, they've seen evidence of their belief systems working, they're going to swear by that. They're just going to be, this is the way to go because I've seen it work for me.
Right.
And it goes both ways. So I'm like, yeah, they can coexist. It really is the same coin.
Yeah.
It really is.
It's all the same to me. I am the pastor's granddaughter, the deacon's daughter.
Okay.
And I was put out of church all the time for asking all the wrong questions growing up. But now my dad, he loves me. Like, he comes to me, he asks me questions. He's, you know, he's about what I'm about. He's not judging me. He's very open. And we've been able to just kind of like well-round our family better. And my family's very old school. Like, women can't wear pants, you know, we can't go to the movies. Like, it was a very strict Christian household. But to see the change in my family and them being open, and, you know, them even calling me like, what was that Bible verse that said that they could do this to the slaves? I was like, I'm telling you. So, you know, they're definitely becoming more open. And I think universally, with so much information being out there and on the internet now, people have no choice but to be open-minded.
Yeah.
For me, like, what I believe in is everybody has their own unique way. And like, my family, we didn't grow up in the church, so there was never we didn't have a way that we were taught, you know, to what we believe in. So that's what started me on my whole journey in the first place. But it definitely was an adjustment when I first began my journey with, you know, just like my dad, he would be like, it's not the universe, it's God. Like, no, we live in a universe, you know. But now I don't have that experience where people aren't open to it at all. And it could just be like, now I'm like grounded within myself, so I'm attracting other people who are on the same frequency as me. But before, when I was just like learning and, you know, I was in and out of my high vibes, then I would attract, you know, people who are low vibe, who are religious, who, you know, their beliefs don't really make sense, but I have to still be open because I'm learning myself. So it's, for me, it's just, you know, if I ever am faced with that conflict, my belief is that we all have our own unique way, our own unique experience. So if I can, you know, accept that for myself, then what other people think is not going to affect me.
Why do y'all think so many like women of color now are flocking to this type of practice? I mean, I've just seen like a surgence of this. Why do y'all think that is?
For me, I think this, you know, it definitely puts you on a journey of self-love, which I think our community of Black women lacked for a long time, with self-love being put on the back burner. Our ancestors, you know, just taking it there, you know, with them being slaves and being treated the way that they were treated, and Black women not feeling beautiful and not feeling loved. And it's like, when you get on this journey, you get to know yourself more and you start to love yourself more. And so I feel like that's why more women are flocking to it. Because like I said, I do healing circles. So I have women that faithfully come to my healing circles because they want to heal. They want to get to that point where they're not feeling down and depressed and out. So.
And I think too, the planet was called Mother Earth, right? We refer to the planet as Mother Earth. And this planet has been here for how many years? Billions of years? Who knows? But she goes through cycles. She goes through millennia, thousands of years of cycles. And at the shifting of those cycles, different energies are dominant. And so now we're at the end of another cycle, going into a new cycle where the feminine principle is returning to prominence. Yeah.
And it's like, you know, women, we have been oppressed for so long, and especially like us coloreds, you know, we've been oppressed.
I love
Our
that.
men.
Us colors. I mean, we have color, yes.
I say, you know, Black color.
I know.
I like to call myself.
No, I love it. You're fine. That was a great little laugh.
But we've just been oppressed for so long, and like, it takes one person to change for another person to change. So you know, as we change, then it's just a ripple effect. And, you know, one woman heals, then it's doing healing for the collective of women. And as we keep on, it's just going to be like a collective thing, energetically.
Yeah, and women were initially the keepers of the secrets of the universe. And we were given like the powerful stuff and could do it and use it freely. And it was like, hold up, we don't want y'all being able to do all that. So it became this whole
during the slave
situation
era.
prior to that child. Even
They knew that the woman was the strength of a family.
Yeah.
So they knew to attack us first, but they attacked us through our black men, like beating them so that we could see them. And that's what like oppressed us the most, is seeing that. And that's why we're so like, we're still oppressed, but I'm glad that we're waking up and like more of us are being the example and just rising.
Yeah. So for the people watching, like, I'm sure there's many questions, but like, I want to, if you can explain the process of certain things. So for instance, what would you use crystals for versus like a healing circle versus like the forks versus tarot cards? Like, do you use them each for different things?
Me definitely, like, I don't really like going to the tarot cards, but if
I'm terrified of tarot cards, by the way.
don't use them if you're terrified.
Okay.
But they're honestly just confirmation of things that you already know. So like if I need a solidified answer, like, my girls want to go out tonight, and I know I shouldn't go out tonight. You know, I know I shouldn't go out tonight. Something in my gut is telling me don't go. But, you know, let me just ask the cards just to be on the safe side, because I might be tripping. You know, I might need to get out the house. So I ask my cards, like, should I go out tonight? And depending on what my card says, I'm going to stay in the house because I believe in my cards. You know, when it comes to that, it's just a divination tool. You know, crystals. I use my crystals for healing, whatever I want to meditate on. Today is the new moon. Today is the new moon.
It is today. Yeah.
And you know, this is a great time for manifesting. So I'm gonna look into, like, right now, this new moon is in Pisces. So I want to know what the energy is of Pisces. And Pisces is telling me to daydream. So what crystal do I need to help me daydream? What's gonna help me, you know, daydream to bring those dreams into manifestation? If I have a hurt stomach and my stomach is hurting, then I might go play with my singing bowls, because those vibrations are going to help my stomach feel better. Different things. It just kind of varies.
Yeah, and I always go back to energy and frequency, because everything is. So the different gemstones, they all vibrate at different frequencies. So you can look them up and say, like she was saying, if there's something that you need specific help for, then you can refer to those stones that vibrate at what's going to help you come into coherence with that. Because the body is a symphony. Every organ, every nerve, every gland is vibrating at a frequency. So the forks, they kind of go in the forks, that type of frequency. It's like, let me use a better analogy. So like, you know how you hear static, right? You can hear static. So the body oftentimes is in static. So bringing the forks into your field, it's like the body is like, hold up, I recognize that sound. Oh, let me go line up with that. And then they start singing in unison with that sound that brings in, and that breaks up the static. So it helps to reset the body back to its normal state of being. And that's what the gemstones do too.
And I believe that the Sapphagio, like, that's honestly what brought my twins to their NICU phase. Like, I was in the NICU playing vibrations the entire time, and like the nurses was coming over there like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, you know, and I'm like, I'm healing my babies. That's what I'm doing. And you know, there were a lot of times where they were coming to me like, oh, they might not make it tonight. And I'm like, oh, okay, I got this. And I would look up the vibration that they needed, and I would play that vibration as they slept, and I would put them on me. So I definitely know for sure that they work. They work.
All divination, energy healing, centering myself. I use everything. I use it all. All for the same things for me. They're not different.
What else is out there other than the traditional, you know, I feel like the most popular is like the crystals and this. Everybody says get your sage, and the sound bowls. Like, what else is out there that maybe might not get as much shine or love than, you know, the others?
Reiki,
because you really can't see that. You know, the other stuff is very pretty. It's attractive, right? The crystals and the gemstones and the bowls, and it's pretty. It's attractive, and seeing the smoke burn is visually appealing.
Doing your shadow work.
What is the shadow work?
So shadow work is pretty much when you get to that point and you're like, I want to change and I want to elevate and I want to vibrate with my higher self. And you're basically asking the universe, you know, like, remove the people away from me that shouldn't be around me, remove my bad habits, you know, make me my godlike self, put me in my godlike form so I can be perfect, basically. And so those challenges start coming to you. People that you never thought would stop being your friend. They stop being your friend, and you're like, what's going on? What happened?
It's
You know,
very
things
scary.
that were in the dark are coming to light. You know, you may not have thought that you were egotistical, but you had ego issues, and those things start coming out, and you start seeing yourself. Like, it's almost like you're the fly on the wall, and you're looking out at yourself, and you're like, I'm an ugly, nasty person, and I don't want to be this ugly, nasty person. And you feel it. It's like, you feel it, I can't explain it, but you want to change that nasty, ugly feeling, and that's your shadow work. And you can fight it, and you can say, oh no, I don't have ego issues, or oh, I've always been a great friend. You know, I've never just my friends just did stuff for me and I didn't do stuff in return. Like, I've always been a great person, and you weren't. So those things start to reveal themselves to you, and it's almost like the universe starts playing a game. It's like a game, and you have to like pass these levels, and it becomes fun.
Wow.
That's the way she put it. 100%. That's how
It becomes fun, and it's like new challenges, and it's like to the point where, like, I know you heard about retrograde. Oh, Mercury's going into retrograde. What's about to happen? And there's a lot of different retrogrades, but Mercury is the one that is more frequent, and it really teaches you about yourself. So it's like to the point where now I'm like, oh, I'm good. I don't have to worry about Mercury retrograde because I've passed all those tests already. So, you know, and then 2 years might go by, and then boom, you get hit again, and it's like, ooh, what cycle did I repeat? What happened? Like, what did I go back into that I shouldn't have? Or, you know, who did I hang out with that made me feel comfortable in an old space, and now I'm creating that bad habit again, and I need to get back up out of there, and I might need to remove this person again. So,
and you find your power in that. Like, all of that starts to strengthen you, and now you're able to, like, you know, access your manifestation powers even more.
Black people get their superpowers. I remember hearing about that.
It's even knowing when to sit out, you know, like when to say, no, I'm not available today, or, you know, no, I'm not really interested in that. That's not fun for me anymore. It might used to be fun for me, but it's not fun for me anymore. And that doesn't mean that we don't have to be friends anymore, but I'm going to sit this one out. And when we're doing something that we both like, then we can be on the same frequency again. So,
what kind of advice can you give to maybe somebody watching who's interested in this, but like doesn't know where to start or what method that they should choose?
I would say always do your own research. No matter what anybody tells you, no matter, you know, what advice somebody gives you on the journey, always do your own research. And like, I'll look at 5 articles about the same thing, and then I'll take what resonates with me, and then I'll utilize that and kind of go within myself and my gut and meditate on it and make sure it's for me.
And I'll just piggyback off the gut. You gotta trust yourself, because we've been taught not to. So trust those feelings, those oohs, those little whispers. Trust that and listen to that.
And I'll give advice on going through your shadow journey is to chase your fears. Like, those are, our fears are our biggest oppressors, are the things that hold us back the most. But if we go after them, then
like when you get anxiety, just go for it. Because like when I met you at the Brand 8 event, I had very bad anxiety. Like, I was in the hallway talking to myself, like, just go in. I was by myself. I was like, just go in. You have to go. You have to meet people. You have to surround yourself by what you want to be surrounded by. So go in. And I'm so happy that I did, because now I see her again 2 years later.
2 years later.
Wow.
It's like Christmas.
Man, I got some work to do. I've been doing this all wrong. You're fine. Not all wrong, but it's a learning lesson. This has been like just such a powerful healing conversation. And for y'all watching, they said the energy was good in the room. So we're rolling with it. But I appreciate y'all sharing, and cheers to just like more healing and loving and learning to all of you. Thank you all for watching. You can find more information about Before Brunch TV on beforebrunchtv.com and on our social media. We'll see you next time. Cheers.